What is the meaning of debugging? Suppose if anything goes wrong in the system or in the setup, so it is very difficult to find out where the mistake was. All digital computers works based on this digits, zeros and 1, or where it works with numerical data. In the first generation, they were using machine level language for instructions, and here they were using assembly level languages. Dear students, welcome to Computer Science classes. I am Ravi Kumar KR, lecturer in Computer Science, Vidhyaashram PU College, Temple of Excellence, Mysore. Students, let us start our discussion with the topics generations of computers and classification of computers. Now, what is the meaning of the word generations of computers? And the history of computer, we have started studying from abacus till the last device, that is Hermann Hollerith tabulating machine. So all these inventions, development, we have studied under the heading history of computers. Now later on, then later developments, we are going to study the different devices and under the heading generations of computers. And these generations of computers are mainly based on the technology, or as there is a rapid growth in the field of science and technology, so we have come across so many devices, or we say so many computers. All these comes under the heading generations of computers. Now let us see, here we have 5 different generations of computer. Now let us see what is the first generation of computers. The first generation of computers, they were using vacuum tubes for switching circuit. Actually, in this device, they were using a vacuum tube. Now you can see the diagram of this. This is the image of a vacuum tube. This is an electrical device. This valve is of electrical device. Vacuum tubes, they were using it as a main electrical component. Now, magnetic drums for memory, and they were using magnetic drums for memory. And as this first generation of computers, they were very large in size and occupied a lot of space. Generally, if you talk about first generation of computers, they were very big in size, and they used to set up a device like this in a room space. It could occupy a room space for setting this type of first generation of computers. As you know, what is the size of this? So, in the first generation of computers, they were using thousands of vacuum tubes, or we say electric valves. So, in the first generation of computers, they were using thousands of electric valves or vacuum tubes in their system. And as you know, it is electric device. So electric device normally generates a lot of heat if you use it continuously for many hours. Just imagine if you switch on any of your electric bulbs for a long time in your home, it generates a temperature. So in the room temperature is changing. So it used to increase the room temperature. Similarly, as this is electrical valve, it used to generate a lot of heat. Now just you can imagine, in one system like this, they were using thousands of electric valves. So generally it could produce enormous amount of heat. And first computers or first generation of computers were very expensive, and this consumed lot amount of electricity because they were using thousands of electric valves, and they were operated only on machine level languages. And in computers, there are 3 different levels of languages. One is machine level language, assembly level language, and high level language. And in first generation of computers, they were using this machine level language for instructions. And what is machine level language? This machine level language is nothing but language of zeros and one. So this is a language of combination of zeros and one. And input was based on punched code and punched tape. So as we have seen in the history of computers, punched code, they were using it as a memory device for to store some data or information. So see here also they were using punched code and paper tapes as a input device and output device obtained as a printout, and they were using a printout as an output. And ENIAC, EDVAC and UNIVAC are belongs to first generation of computers. So these are the three different systems or devices example for first generation of computers. So they used to make a very lengthy wiring system to set up this type of computers. And once it starts generating lots of heat, so there are chances of malfunctioning of system. And with the help of this, the debugging was very difficult. What is the meaning of debugging? Suppose if anything goes wrong in the system or in the setup, so it is very difficult to find out where the mistake was, or they very difficult for them to identify which of the electric valves are not functioning or maybe malfunctioning. So because of this, the debugging was very difficult. Now let us see what is second generation of computers. Second generation of computers, the transistors is the main electronic component. Now, if you observed in the previous slide, first generation of computer, they were using electric valves. So, first generation computer is electrical computer. Now, this electric valves are replaced with a transistor. It is electronic component. So, now you can see the image of transistor and you can look at the size of this. So, as compared to electric valve, it is very small in size. So, because of that, computers become very small as compared to first generation of computers. Next, because it's electronic component, it used to work faster and economical energy efficient. Now the transistor is energy efficient device, is electronic component and is more reliable than first generation of computer system. This produce considerable amount of heat as compared to electric valves. This produce considerable amount of energy or heat, and they were using punched code for input and printout for output, and they were using assembly level languages. So in the first generation they were using machine level language for instructions, and here they were using assembly level languages and magnetic core technology for memory. So they used to make use of the magnetic core technology to store information or to work as a memory. So this is second generation computers. Now let us move on to next slide. It is third generation of computer system. Here integrated circuit or ICs. Now you can see the picture of this. This is called IC or integrated circuit. So the main electronic component used in third generation computer is IC or integrated circuit. And what is an IC? Actually, the transistors, as we have seen in a previous generation of computers, the transistors were made smaller in size and placed onto a silicon chips and called as ICs. Means with the number of transistor circuits, they used to make one IC. So you can imagine that one IC, it is made up of so many transistor circuits. And with the help of this, so they've increased the speed and efficiency as compared to previous generation, as compared to second generation. And they have started using keyboards as input device, monitors and printout as output devices. So in third generation of computers, the main electronic component was IC or integrated circuit, And these circuits, ICs, are made up of so many transistor circuits, and they used to place onto a silicon chips to form an ICs. And with the help of this, and the computers were very speed and more efficient, and keyboard and monitors, they were using it as input and output devices respectively. And LSI and VLSI. Here, LSI stands for large scale integration and very large scale integrated circuits. These two are advanced ICs, and they were using these technologies in third generation computers. Now let us see what is next one. So next one is fourth generation of computer. Now this is the microprocessor is the main electronic component. Now we can see the image of this. So this is a device called microprocessor. It is an electronic device. And the microprocessor is the main component as thousands of ICs were built onto a single silicon chip to form a microprocessor. So what is a microprocessor? It is an electronic device, and it is made up of thousands of IC circuits, and to form one single microprocessor. Now you can imagine how the efficient it is as compared to transistor and as well as ICs. So because of this, the size has come down. Because ICs are small in size, the size of computer has reduced as compared to previous generations, and it is more powerful, and they could be linked together to form a networks. Means we are using these type of computers for networking. So these are the features of fourth generation of computer, and the present day computer belongs to fourth generation. So we are all working or using computers which are belongs to fourth generation of computers. Let us move on to next slide. Now it is fifth generation of computer. Next one is fifth generation computers, and it is based on AI or artificial intelligence or nothing but robotics. Fifth generation of computing devices based on AI or artificial intelligence are still in the developmental stage and more powerful. They could be linked together to form network. So what is AI? Here, AI is nothing but artificial intelligence. Students, all of what we have learned so far is a computer is an electronic device and is a dump machine. If I say dump machine, it depends on the human beings for instruction. So it works exactly the how it has been programmed by the user. So as the computer does not have a brain, it cannot think on its own. It depends on the human instruction. So what is fifth generation of computer? So this is it is with the concept of AI. Here, what is AI? It is nothing but we are making a computer or a machine to work like human being or to think like human beings. So that is the concept of AI. Nowadays, this word AI is making lot of sounds, and even in the news channels or in the newspapers or in social media. Now now AI is emerging as the new technology in the field of computer science. So they could be linked together to form a network, and it could be more powerful. Students, as and now, this development, it is under developmental stage, means it is under processing. So AI is nothing but artificial intelligence. We are making a computer to think like human being so that it can take decision on its own. That is the concept of artificial intelligence. Now, till now, we have studied the generation of computers, and these generations were mainly based on the technological developments or improvement in the field of science and technology. Now, let us go to next concept is classification of computers. Now, we have studied the history, then generation. Now, we are going to study what are the classification of computer system. So, mainly the computers can be classified based on two or three factors. One is based on the principle of operation, how a particular computer works. Based on his principle, that is a type of classification. Next type of classification is based on technological configuration of a computer system. Now let us see what is the classification based on principle of operation. So based on its working, we are classifying the computers into different types. Now under this, the first type is analog computers. Analog computers. What is analog computers? Analog computer is a computing device that works on continuous range of values with a minimum and maximum value. What is analogous? Analogous is nothing but the information or calculation based on the signal. Student, you might have heard something like a graph. Suppose this is the here. If I mark it as 0, and you can see something like the graph like this. And actually, these are nothing but your analogous signals, or we can say analogous data. What is analogous data? Analogous data are in the form of graphs. So it is not in the form of digits or numbers. And very good example for this I can give you is ECG, electrocardiogram report. If you go, you might have come across a report that is called ECG report. If you look at the ECG report, it is a lengthy a paper. On that you can see so many lines are nothing but graphs. So that conveys some information to the doctor or to the concerned person. That is also a data and information. So that is analogous data and analogous information. So this analogous computer, they used to work with those type of data and used to give us in the form of analogous signal as a result. So analogous computer used to work on continuous range of values. And another example we can see here is a sphygmomanometer, that is to check the BP or blood pressure. Now we can see that the range, how the doctors or maybe in any diagnostic center, how they going to check your BP. So they are going to rate your blood pressure by looking at the mercury level. It is moving from one range to another range. So this is an example for analogous data and analogous information. So this is the computer they used to work with analogous range. It used to work with analogous data and information. One more example for this is a thermometer. So we're using thermometer to measure a temperature. So as and when there is a change in the temperature, maybe in a room or maybe in an environment, the mercury level, it keeps moving from one to another range. Those type of calculations are to be done with the help of analogous computer. Now let us move on to next slide. Next type of classification is digital computer. Nowadays, nowadays we are using computer. These are digital computers. So what are digital computers? The digital computers are those that operate with information, numerical values, or otherwise represented in a digital form. Here, what is the meaning of digital form? We are going to represent all data and information in the form of digits. They are called as zeros and one. So these type of digital computers, they used to work with the numbers or numericals, zeros and one. So they are called as digital computers. They give the result with more accuracy and faster rate. So it works very fast, as well as it produces or it gives us accurate result. Next one is hybrid computers. This is another type of computers, and it is a combination of analog computers and digital computers. So here, these hybrid computers are built with the best features of analog computers and the best features of digital computers, and with the help of those two features, they have come up with hybrid computers. So those are capable of accepting input and output in both digital and analogous signal. As we have seen in our previous slide, analogous computer used to work with only analogous data in the form of the information or data in the form of signals or in the form of graphs. But digital computer used to work with the digits, zeros and one. So as hybrid computers is a combination of analog and digital computers, it used to work with digital data as well as analogous signal or analogous data. A hybrid computer system setup offers a cost-effective method of performing complex simulation. So this is another type of classification based on the principle of working, that is hybrid computers. Students, in this session we have discussed about the generation of computers. Under that, we have studied the 5 different generations based on different electronical components they were using in the system. And also, one of the classification based on the principle of working. Under that, we have studied analogous computer, digital computer, and hybrid computers. Now, let us continue our discussion in my next session. Thank you very much.